we are setting our girls up for failure. And we're showing them that their lives don't matter. And we need to do better. So I haven't done a Can We Talk video in a hot minute. I was actually planning on doing a different video altogether, but just something in my soul said that I need to make this video. Black women, we need to do better, especially when it comes to victim blaming and perpetuating the idea that little girls are fast. Can we talk about it? Now, unless you've been living under a rock, I'm sure by now you've heard of the Surviving Kelly docuseries that has been shown on Lifetime this weekend. It's a 6-part docuseries. To say the information that is given in this docuseries is disturbing is a gross understatement. The accusations and the accounts that were spoken about on this docuseries was enough just to make my skin crawl. Now I'm going to talk about some things that have been out in the open that I didn't look up until I was older. I think I was probably 25 at this time, so it's been at least a decade that I kind of did a little investigation for myself to really figure out how I felt about him as a person. So none of this stuff is news. You can go online and Google it yourself. You can see it written in black and white. You can even listen to these lyrics. Now, I'm not going to play anything on my channel that is by him, but I will read some of the lyrics that I have found, okay? Everyone knows that he was sexually explicit in his lyrics. That was one of the main reasons why I was not allowed to listen to him growing up, and I wasn't introduced to him until I was in high school when everyone else was listening to him. But again, it wasn't something that I purchased on my own. But he had a song called, I believe it was called I Like Crotch on You, which the title itself, disgusting. But one of the lyrics, and there was very telling, the lyric reads, "Only if you're old enough, baby, 18 and over or 16 and under." 16 and under, why is that even a lyric? So right there, he's telling you on the open that he likes younger girls. In 1992, he had this song that was a really big hit called You Got the Vibe. In that song, he says, "Little cute Aaliyah's got it." Now, in 1992, Aaliyah was 13. She was his protege at that time. But a grown man should not be singing a song talking about women having a good vibe and someone who is 13 years old is mentioned in the song. That's just a no. So there's number 2. Then you look at Aaliyah's debut album, Age Ain't Nothing But a Number. Really? First off, it creeped me out. I remember this, being creeped out that there was a male silhouette like in the background of it, kind of like looking down. I don't know. It just made me feel very uneasy. And that's R. Kelly in the background. He not only produced the songs, he wrote some of the songs. It was just, again, how could you not know that R. Kelly had a penchant for young women? Now that the documentary has come out, I have seen way too many women come and stick up for this man. Like, he is personally paying for their rent, their food, their clothing. He is paying for their lifestyle for them to stand up for him and what he's doing. Like, just way too many women. I've seen people say things that, well, these girls should have known better. These women should have known better. What part of a child's mind is easily manipulated? Don't you understand? A person who is 16, 14, 13, they are going to do whatever a grown-up tells them to do. And he had a camp around him. He had police officers in his pocket that would call him when he needed to do welfare checks. There were parents that were pushing the children to go after fame. There was his these kids' uncles. There were other people around these girls that did not protect them. And yet, when you read the comments, people are talking so negatively about them. Like, they are talking about them like they are grown women that knew better. And the fact of the matter is that when you're in a relationship or when you're in a abusive relationship, where someone holds power over you. It's completely different and very hard to get out even as an adult. So I could not even imagine being groomed at the age of 12, 13, 14, all the way up to 16. And then by that time, you think that this person cares about you and you think that you're in a relationship with this person. It is definitely something that I feel as though that women should really think twice about, especially when they are standing up for not the victims, but the person who is doing the abuse. You know, all too often, especially in the Black community, we like to sweep things under the rug. There are way too many families that I know of, mine included, that have someone in their family that people know should not be around kids, and yet they're always invited to the family functions. They're always, you know, around family situations. They're always around the kids, and it's kind of like the, oh yeah, you know, you don't go over by such and such because you know he has a problem. But yet still no one talks about it. Instead, what they focus on is how fast the girls are. Are you wearing something? Like if a girl develops early, she's not fast. If a girl is dancing, she's not fast. Smiling at someone doesn't make you fast. When you have been sexually abused and you act out, that doesn't make you fast. That makes you a victim who needs help, and that means that you need to talk about it with a therapist and you need to work on things. And again, in the Black community, all too often it is swept under the rug, and it needs to change. It needs to stop. I have countless friends that have been told, I don't believe you, when they decide to speak up and tell their truth. And when they do come forward, the naysayers always are saying, well, what took you so long? Look in the comment section of anyone talking about R. Kelly right now, and you can see why people don't want to come forward. Are there people that don't tell the truth? It is a very small percentage, very small. So when someone gets the strength to speak out and tell their story, that allows someone else to have the courage to speak out and tell their story. That's usually why when there is one accusation, many follow, because women feel like they're not alone. And they have someone that understands what they've gone through, and it makes them want to tell their story. And they have every right to tell their story, no matter if it happened 30 years ago, 50 years ago, or if it happened last week. We're all individuals. We all deal with things at different times. So if you're strong enough to tell your story now, then that's great. If you are strong enough to tell your story decades later, then that's great too. How these women can negate what another woman said when they weren't there, when the evidence shows that this particular man that they are capping for is a pedophile, like for real. I don't understand why we're blaming the victim. We need to do better. We need to do better for ourselves. We need to do better for our sisters, for our daughters, for our mothers, for our aunts, for our cousins. We need to do better. You know, instead of focusing on how fast a girl is, what we need to focus on are these grown men who were worried about a child being fast around. I mean, think about that. We're putting all this pressure on a young, growing person to make sure that they do not entice a grown man. And that is not who we should be talking to. We should be talking to the grown men. Stop inviting them around your home. Stop socializing with them at family functions. We need to speak up and acknowledge the fact that they should not be around. They should be in jail. We all know someone who's had to deal with that in their family. Whether you haven't dealt with it personally, you know someone that has. Some of us haven't even had the chance to deal with the trauma that comes with that. Some of us have to wait until adulthood to deal with that, to get ourselves out of that situation in order for us to actually heal and be better. And the first step in doing that is sharing your story. But with sharing your story comes all the backlash and scrutiny about why it's taking you so long to do so. And we need to stop that. We need to stop. Also, let's talk about the conversation that I see as well is that, well, Elvis married Priscilla when she was very young. Woody Allen married his stepdaughter when she was young. All of these prestigious men have done the same thing R. Kelly has, but no one's made a documentary about him. Let me just tell you this. It doesn't matter what color you are. If you're going after young teenage women and abusing them, I don't care who you are. I don't care who you're doing a documentary on. As long as it's being brought to the light, then it needs to be taken care of, and we need to throw away the trash. Throw it away. I don't care who it is. And stop saying, oh, well, you didn't go after this person, so you shouldn't be going after this person. Nah, it doesn't work like that. We should be going after everyone who is creating these traumatic events and traumatic situations for young girls that they have to go through their life holding this in and then somehow get the courage to actually tell their story, and they're still looked at as being the reason why that harm was caused to them. And another thing about R. Kelly that I noticed as well is that I've seen in comment sections and, having discussions with people as well, is that they say, well, he was abused in real life, and I don't understand. Like, I don't see someone who was abused, like how they could abuse someone. Well, first, why do you believe his story of abuse, but not the women's? Number two, there are people who have had abuse done to them and they become abusers themselves. Like, look up statistics, okay? We have to stop blaming these victims, like, especially when it comes to Black women. Black women are some of the people in society that has the most, they have like the most trauma ever. And in our Black families, we need to speak up. We need to speak up. We cannot let people get away with this stuff. And we have to have open and honest conversations in our family. It takes a lot of courage for people to speak up. And when we side with the abuser and not with the victim, we are setting our girls up for failure. And we're showing them that their lives don't matter. And we need to do better.